Hey guys, this is Undercover Dudes, and these are the top 30 new browser games to play in 2022 and beyond. Now I heard you guys loud and clear, so this video will only feature the very best new browser games, and believe me, there are some awesome games that I'm going to show you today. Now only 12% of you guys watching right now are subscribed, so if you enjoy this video, please feel free to sub, and also tell me in the comments section below what is your favourite browser game. But with that said, let's get straight into it. Horde Killer U vs 100 is pretty much what it says in the title. It's you versus a vast horde of zombies where you need to use a variety of weapons to hold them back, including rifles, shotguns, miniguns, and RPGs. Round by round, you destroy the zombies using your weapons along with parkour movement and rolling, and in between rounds you go back to the main menu where you can purchase upgrades to buff your guns. Gameplay wise, it's mindless fun, giving you just mowing down enemies, and graphically it's obviously not a looker, but for a quick session, Horde Killer is pretty sweet. Next up today is Time Shooters 3, a browser-based first-person shooter hugely inspired by Superhot, where time stands still until you move. The gameplay is pretty on point. You plan your shots, move carefully, and dodge enemy fire in slow-mo combat. It is very much like Superhot in the browser. Furthermore, as this is the third addition to the series, we now get SWAT shields and other new gameplay features, increasing the fun to be had. Graphically, it's really cool too. It's got that low cell, untextured aesthetic, however the weapons have a decent amount of detail, which is cool. Burnin Rubber Crash and Burn is a new driving game where the objective is solely on chaos, driving around the streets and blowing up everything in sight. The Burning Rubber series has been out for quite a while, and this edition takes it to the next level. Your car is kitted out with tons of weapons, and each round will give you a new mission. For example, destroying a certain number of police cars and other objects around the map. The driving and shooting is top notch for a browser game, and the graphics are pretty good too, so don't miss out on Burning Rubber Crash and Burn. Now with that said, if you want the browser that I use to play all these games with high FPS and low lag, then download Brave Browser for free. Incredible performance, a fantastic ad blocker, great privacy features, and best of all, you earn free money. If you want to check it out, link in the description below. It is the best way to support the channel. Hexanaugh IO is another sliver-style IO game, heavily inspired by Snake. In this game, you need to capture territories by closing the loop, keep capturing hexagons to level up and get progressively more and more speed bonuses. Changing things up though is how you win. You need to control just 20% of the map and you'll become the king. Keep your crown for 3 minutes to win, but beware that other players will know your position. Gameplay is straightforward and sweet, but the little additions like laser turrets and teleporters and ranks and XP is really quite cool, and this game playing is for way too long. It's such an addicting game. RocketBot Royale is a new browser-based Battle Royale game, where you play as a tank set in a constantly shrinking arena until only one player is left. Everything about this game screams quality. The gameplay is super easy to pick up, but it has a surprising amount of depth as you can shoot the ground to jump, shoot to destroy terrain, and also utilize different weapons, all while being completely gravity defying. This is backed up by some fantastic looking 2D graphics featuring super bright and bold colours, along with a great looking user interface. RocketBot Royale is truly a really great browser game and is one of the top ones on today's list. Make sure to check it out. Mini Golf Club is a fantastic, competitively angled sports game, where you play against 6 players in fast rounds of putt-putt. Played from the third-person perspective, the gameplay is simple, easy to pick up, and definitely effective. Each match is made up of 3 holes and your goal is to complete them with as few strokes as possible. It's a quick and easy version of the real thing. Now you can simply hop into a public match against random players, or you can play against mates in a private game, which is really cool, making this perfect for a quick 5-minute break. Next up today is Infected Days, a simple mouse-only shooter where you need to take out hordes and hordes of enemies. Starting off with your twin pistols, the zombies start spawning, so you start shooting, and you gotta go and avoid all of them, taking them out and getting to the end of the round. In between rounds though, you get power-ups like more damage, higher fire rate, health regen, and so on, and it's really cool progressing more and more. However, it gets difficult really fast and you will go and die, but you will unlock more powerful weapons and permanent power-ups, so be much better equipped in the next round. Overall, Infected Days is super easy to hop into, quite fun, and definitely worth a try. As always, we gotta give a special mention to Cronker.io, as I still think it's one of the best browser games out right now. A fast-paced, slide-hopping first-person shooter, Cronker has fantastic gameplay and incredible depth, including a huge set of maps, classes, mods, and modes. Cronker's been out for ages, and still in 2022 it holds up to be a really fun and solid game. Now if you want to try Cronker out, feel free to sign up using my referral link in the description below. It's completely free and supports the channel in by far the best way possible. Vampire Survivors is such an awesome game, a 2D pixel art inspired bullet hell-like shooter that takes things to the next level. You start out fighting off bats and the such, but as you kill more enemies and gain experience, you unlock abilities that will make you significantly more powerful. When you die though, all the gold gained can be used for even more upgrades, which is cool and gives this game a lot of longevity. Awesome graphics, easy to run, fun gameplay, and best of all, it's free to play in the browser. Check it out. Battletabs is what happens when you take the classic game of battleships and give it a 2022 coat of paint. The core gameplay is the same, place your ships across the board and attempt to take out the enemy, however you don't know where the ships are. Battletabs takes it to the next level though with abilities that really shake up the gameplay, but keeps it familiar with the fast-paced back and forth action. The graphics are definitely a standout though, with the cute visuals looking fantastic along with a great UI that's also quite functional. To top it off though, you're able to play multiple matches at once and that's really sick. Top Outpost is a solo defense game with a very simple objective: eliminate all the incoming zombies in each level. All you need is a mouse as you're posted on a tower, shooting at the hordes of zombies moving in. You're able to choose from a variety of weapons and you'll need to utilize them to win, as the game gets difficult very quickly. Luckily, there's lots of weapon upgrades on offer, which also brings a good amount of content, and it's quite fun progressively getting more and more powerful. Brutal.io is simple and awesome. It's a 2D game where you fly around the battlefield and attempt to take out your enemies with your flail. Left click to detach it and launch it towards your enemies, kill them and absorb their life to get bigger and more powerful. It's the same .io concept we've seen time and time again, but this extra element really makes it quite fun. It's the older brother of Powerline.io, but Brutal.io is definitely worth mentioning given how fun this is, and while we're saying it, hey, go check out Powerline as well. Hyperspace Races 3 is an ultra-fast racing game with a huge emphasis on speed. The gameplay is somewhat bare bones. You're in a hovercraft, you go extremely fast, and you try to get the fastest time possible. Despite this simplicity, it is fairly fun, and the variety of modes does break things up, in particular the mission mode where you unlock new courses and new vehicles. Graphically, it's actually pretty decent, but it doesn't detract from the gameplay, which is the true focus, and the gameplay itself is actually quite difficult given the tight courses and fast speeds. Racing games in the browser are very difficult to pull off, however Hyperspace Racers 3 pulled it off fantastically. Definitely worth a try. Bank Robbery is a new first-person shooter game where you defend a vault after successfully robbing a bank. Waves and waves of enemies file in, and it's your job to stop them by using weapons that you purchase between rounds. It's a straightforward concept, but it's executed very well given the solid gameplay, which includes some decent AI as they actively take cover and deal decent damage. While definitely not original, Bank Robbery executes its idea well, creating a fun gameplay loop of unlocking more and more powerful weapons. Check it out. Haven Dock is an incredibly detailed simulation game where you find yourself stranded in the middle of the ocean after a huge crash. Starting from nothing, you gather resources, build, learn how to distill water, conduct research, and so on, making your way bit by bit. The building gameplay in conjunction with controlling your character is cool, and as people eventually start arriving, you need to keep them happy to progress your community further and further. Now it really does have that browser game look about it, but Haven Dock is a really solid game, a great simulation game, and we don't see many of those in the browser. Fields of Fury has seemingly come out of nowhere, but it's probably one of the best browser-based first-person shooters out right now. Fields of Fury is set in World War II, however the theme is extremely cartoonish and fun, which is super similar to Battlefield Heroes. This is seen quite well in the gameplay. It's fun and doesn't take itself too seriously, but still has really solid mechanics. The graphics are fantastic too. The cartoonish style works really well and ties the whole package together. Despite being a really new game, Fields of Fury has set itself up fantastically, and I can't wait to see what it does in the future. Our next game today is Footix IO, a multiplayer soccer game in which the objective is simple: score as many goals as possible. Unlike normal football though, Footix allows you to blatantly slide tackle and throw chairs at your opponents, which is a very fun twist. Now, the almost top-down perspective is perfect for the browser, especially given the simple and straightforward controls which are just WASD and your mouse. The actual gameplay itself is what you expect: get the ball, kick it down the field, and try to score some goals. While graphically it's not really a looker, the overall gameplay is pretty fun, it's rather simple, and sums up what a good browser game should be. NarrowOne is definitely a unique take on the first-person shooter genre, replacing modern weapons with bow and arrows in a medieval theme setting. This game has a big emphasis on really aiming your shots, especially as you need to pull back your bow to get more power, and this is really great to see. Mode-wise, we've only got Capture the Flag, but there are enough maps to mix it up, and to be honest, for short gaming sessions, this is more than enough. NarrowOne is definitely something different than the traditional FPS games that we see come out, so make sure to give it a try. Ducklings.io is by far the cutest browser game on this list, as you play as a caring duck that picks up lost ducklings from the pond. Swim around, get the ducklings, bring them safely home, it's all very cute. However, there are other ducks in the pond that will attempt to steal your ducklings, but you can go and steal from them too, and that makes sense given that more ducklings means better upgrades for your nest. The gameplay is as straightforward as it gets. You just move your mouse, you get the ducklings, you come back, and that's completely fine given how calming this game is, in part to the cute and aesthetically pleasing graphics. I gotta say though that this game is weirdly really competitive and also quite petty, because the amount some players, including me, will go to steal ducklings is insane, and it's just addicting getting long chains. Next up today is Repulse.io, a first-person shooter with a futuristic Halo vibe and includes great gameplay and huge maps. Now, a big draw to this game are the vehicles. You've got mechs, you've got four-wheelers with turrets on them. They are really cool, and it's kind of insane as very few browser games can go and pull off vehicles that well. Now, gameplay-wise on the whole, it's more on the basic side, but it works quite well, and the inclusion of multiple weapons gives good variety. To top it off, the simple graphics means it's playable on all computers, including Chromebooks. A very retro addition to this list is Hexblade, an old school 2D side-scroller with some really sweet gameplay. This game really brings you back to the 80s where side-scrollers were taking over the world. Hexblade replicates this fantastically with a basic set of controls, but incredibly difficult gameplay that means you really have to be on top of your game. Furthermore, this game looks incredible, the old school graphics are sick, and it just ties the whole game together. This one is pretty simple. Astrodud is Fall Guys but in the browser. It takes the essence of what Fall Guys and Brofalls does with its long courses and wacky obstacles and wraps it up in a nice looking browser package, as Astrodud not only has cute and bright graphics but also a simple and appealing user interface. It's a fun game for sure and really sums up the browser experience as it's perfect to play on basically every type of computer. Quick Draw is a super fun game by Google and is probably the most unique game on this list. The idea is awesome. You're challenged to draw a picture of an idea or an object, and then the game uses a neural network artificial intelligence to guess what the drawings represent. The AI learns from each drawing, improving its ability to correctly guess in the future, and despite it not being a real game, Quick Draw is fun as you can see the AI try to work out what you've drawn with the guesses in the bottom part of the screen. Best of all, you playing adds to the network, improving image recognition for everyone. Another FPS game for today is Cronker.io, a super stripped back and basic shooter with no slide hopping or the like, just normal movement with a very big focus on gunplay. This means that Cronker is very easy to pick up as there isn't any complex movement to learn, but the fast time to kill does go and give quite a big amount of depth to the gameplay, especially the one-shot headshot snipers. Graphically, it's got that blocky Minecraft look, another angle where it's obvious they're going up against Cronker. Now overall, Cronker is a bit bare bones but really is quite fun, especially if you're gonna go try hard. Less of a traditional game and more of a toy, Townscape is an indie city building title. Townscape has no inherent objective or story. You just construct an island town by placing and removing coloured blocks on an ocean. This allows for potentially infinite ideas, creating city streets, balconies, spires, and more. It's extremely satisfying building your city bit by bit, especially as there really isn't a wrong move. This, plus the cute and cartoonish graphics, works perfectly and shows exactly why this game progressed from just a browser game to a fully fledged Steam title. Celeste is known as one of the best indie games of all time, but before it was a popular platformer, Celeste was a free browser game. Luckily for us, this 2016 browser version is still available online on itch.io, and it's really cool seeing the original concept. Written for the Pico 8 Virtual Console, Celeste Classic has retro graphics, but the focus is definitely on the core platforming, which the team channeled into the full release. There isn't much of a story, but that doesn't matter too much. Try this out, and if you're a fan, make sure to buy the full version. One of the most popular games right now is of course Wordle, and I'm sure you've heard of it. All you need to do is guess the daily word in 6 tries, and each guess must be a valid 5-letter word. The game helps you as you get certain letters right, and it's addicting trying to get the word in the least amount of tries possible. It's well known, well loved, and playable on mobile and the browser, well worth a shot if you haven't tried it yet. Under the Sun is definitely the most beautiful game on this list, a simple sand skiing game with fantastic art. The game uses only the mouse and specifically the left button, where with one click you ski to one side and clicking the same button again you ski to the other side. This very simple idea plays out perfectly. Your character slides down the sand and you go back and forth dodging obstacles, trying to make it as long as possible. It looks, sounds and plays fantastically, definitely an underrated addition to the browser game landscape. Sushi Party is a snake-like game with super cute anime-inspired visuals. You're in an arena with other snakes and the goal is to make them bump into you, and the more sushi your snake eats, the larger it grows. The core gameplay is as simple as it gets, just try to be the biggest snake, and on the surface it seems to be that simple across the board. However, with the boost feature you can pull off some cool moves to fake out your opponents and cut them off, forcing them to be eliminated, and that's when you can get all of their food to quickly put you ahead in the game. Overall, it's a classic idea reimagined with some fantastically cute visuals, definitely worth trying out. Lowshot.io is a new first-person shooter that on the surface seems, quite cute and fun, but it's actually really gameplay focused and it is a really solid shooter. Lowshot is quite significantly influenced by Quake. There's weapon pickups, the maps are ripped straight from Quake, the gameplay is quite hardcore, and it's pretty fun to see all of this in the browser with quite a cute aesthetic. Despite the weird colors and the wacky graphics, the gameplay is pretty tight. It's a solid shooter, definitely worth a try.